Don't you wish it was this easy? Finding a bottle of liquor, bag of marijuana, or a vaping device laying out in your child's room in plain sight? At least you know for certain, right? There it is, for better or worse, right in front of you. Tangible evidence that your child might have started experimenting with drugs or alcohol, or maybe even has become dependent on a substance. Unfortunately, it's typically not this easy though. Kids today are just way more savvy than they were just a few short years ago, and it definitely doesn't help that there's a whole market out there specifically targeting these behaviors, making our jobs as caregivers even more difficult. Tell you what, let's start over and see what we're more likely to find. Well, did you see it this time? Go on, take another look. How about we check out that hairbrush? Right, look closer. Pretty scary, huh? How about that USB? Seems harmless enough. Wait, did your daughter forget her phone? Tell you what, how about we go move on to the next room?
They're aware of alcohol. They know what alcohol is. They know how to use it. Kids are tending to use more alcohol. They're looking for blackout rather than looking for, just getting a buzz. But when we're having those conversations with students, they notice that their friends has passed out, having to go to the hospital because they're unresponsive, completely unresponsive. Kids under, 17, 18 that are putting themselves in a blackout situation, maybe a couple times a month, that's a real concern. Alcohol itself is a severe depressant. So now think about those other students that may be on medication. I think that marijuana and alcohol are more available. They're available to our teens, not just us as parents, not just adults.
Sorry, Mom, but that's not the only dirty laundry we're going to find today. Why don't we go check out the dresser? Ready to take a look? Anything seem suspicious? You're right. At a glance, none of these items appear to be out of place. But that's really the whole problem, isn't it? These items are meant to look like they belong. So how about you take a look at that energy drink can? That's marijuana concealed in a fake can. Sorry, Mom, I know this is hard on you, but we're not done yet. Tell you what, how about you choose what we look at next? Looks like you found a regular container of deodorant, right? Think again. Go ahead, look at the bottom. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no prescription for those. So now what? booze, pills, pot. You just found these items in your kids' rooms. What are you going to do about it? You're angry, aren't you? It's understandable. You feel like you want to lash out, throw a fit, yell at someone, right? Do you know what that means? It means that now is not the time to have that talk. Tell you what, go calm down and then we'll talk about what to do next.
So these axe containers, the container opens up and you can stash a variety of things, including more marijuana, potentially pills, or things that you might find around in the home that kids looking to experiment with. One of the interesting containers that we found is, even though it looks like a regular highlighter, this highlighter can be unscrewed on the backside, and what you'll find is a pipe that can be used for marijuana products. If you found that in the backpack, you most likely would have looked it over. So these Juul pods are all over the place. We find them in schools. We've seen these devices plugged into laptops that teachers have overlooked. These things are easily hidden. They do look like a USB. They're very skinny, and you'll also find that the pods themselves, one pod has approximately one full pack of cigarettes worth of nicotine.
Welcome back. How are you feeling? It looks like you've done a great job getting ready. You picked a time, a date, a place to have this talk, and you've eliminated any interruptions by turning off your cell phone. That's going to go a long way to let them know that this is a serious situation. So why don't we get started? Remember, you'll want to stay calm. This needs to be a conversation, not a confrontation. Keep an open dialogue and work through any barriers you might come across together. So any idea what you're going to say? How about you start by telling him how much you care? Reinforce that all you want for him is to be healthy, safe, and happy. Can you do that? Make sure he knows how much you value his honesty and that you're ready to listen to whatever he says without judgment. Remember, the safer he feels, the more likely he is to open up. Now comes the hard part. Time to present him with any evidence that you found.
I remember when I was
Confront him with the evidence with words that sound like love and concern, not anger.
There's a lot of pressure to fit in.
Empathize with them by relating to him with stories about how you first encountered these issues. Let him know that you understand the difficult peer pressure can be. Try and use open-ended questions in order to elicit a conversation. Actively listening to what your child tells you will build trust and confidence that you really want to help and not punish.
Is that right?
Rephrasing what he just said is the best way to show that you're listening. Asking him to confirm that you understood will cement the fact that you're willing to see his side.
Don't worry, Mom. Won't do that kind of thing again.
That's a nice sentiment, but did you catch his body language? Here, let's watch it again. Wouldn't it be nice if we could take everything they had to say at face value? Unfortunately, that's just not the case. A lot of times body language will tell you a lot more about what they're thinking rather than the words they're using. So make sure you're taking their actions into consideration during your talk. A great way to end this is by thanking him for speaking open and honestly. It shows that your talk was really important to you. Well, how do you think it went?
So 1 out of 5 of our 7th grade students most likely gambled in the last year. This can be online, it can be done in a video game, purchasing a loot box. You don't know what you are spending your money on, and you don't know what the reward is coming back. So some of the things you want to be aware of would be pencil sharpeners or disposable razors, things that can cut and leave a mark. And we want to look at different areas in the body that can be concealed with long sleeves or with pants. If it's in the summertime and someone's wearing a sweatshirt, you might want to question that.
Did you know that kids who learn about the risks of substance use, problem gambling, and self-harm at home are less likely to take up these dangerous activities? Well, it's true. And as a parent, talking about your expectations and setting guidelines and boundaries can have a huge influence on your child's behavior. And the sooner you start, the more impact you're going to have. A good way to start this difficult conversation is by using those I statements and expressing your feelings. Make it a personal issue that can elicit a meaningful dialogue.
Thank you for
Keep the
your help.
conversation open by appreciating any information that he brings into the talk.
It scares
Keep
me that
encouraging
you
him
might
to
have
be honest with what's
considered
happening in his
trying
world.
one or some of these things.
Be direct. Let him know that there is temptation for drugs and alcohol in life and that he probably knows someone who's tried one or even both.
You know, one of our rules is no alcohol, right?
Reinforcing the rules is great practice. Praise him for good decisions that he has made and keep him mindful of those as he's confronted by more of those decisions in the
You did a great
future.
job dealing with that situation. I hope
Always let your child know that you're there to support them, and be sure to keep that door open for dialogue at any time.
Okay.
Okay.
Talk with your kids. This is your opportunity to reach them. If you have this conversation with your kids, they're 50% less likely to use alcohol and drugs. That's such an important piece.
Remember, prevention is better than cure. Talk early, talk often, and monitor your child's behavior. Make sure your child understands the guidelines, rules, and boundaries that you set in place and clearly defined all expectations regarding their behavior.